It's time for the morning news.
The final report on WMDs in Iraq due out next month, but the White House is already defending its pre-war position on the subject.
The search goes on. Firefighters say they still have a chance to find survivors of the deadly California mudslide.
And you may be surprised to find out where the state shut down a bingo operation. The morning news starts now.
Breaking news and your weather first. Now, coverage you can count on. The morning news on News Channel 9.
And good Thursday morning, everyone. Now 5 o'clock. I'm Christie Casciano. Look at that temperature.
Yeah, 46 degrees. I'm Dave Longley. We've got hello, and we've got some nice weather coming our way for today. A little bit of a break before temperatures get back a little closer to where they should be for January. Here's your weather first planner for today. We're 46 now. We'll be up between 48 and 50 by 9 o'clock with clouds and a little sun. Upper 50s by noontime, windy and warm this afternoon with a high of 64 degrees. Well, the White House says failure to find weapons of mass destruction in Iraq does not mean the war was a mistake.
But a final report from the chief weapons inspector due out next month concludes Saddam Hussein had no formal plan to revive his program. The search for those weapons of mass destruction quietly came to the end last month after 2 years of searching. In an exclusive interview with ABC's Barbara Walters, the president said the United States was not alone in reaching the wrong conclusion.
Many around the world, the United Nations thought he had weapons of mass destruction, and so therefore, one, we need to find out what went wrong in the intelligence gathering. Saddam was dangerous, and the world is safer without him in power.
The chief weapons inspector, Charles Stolfer, is expected to say next month that the former regime had no formal written strategy or plan for the revival of WMD.
He's finally home and readjusting after spending almost the last year and a half in the fight for Iraq. But this isn't the first time in war, although it has been nearly 4 decades since his last tour of duty. New this morning, Jeff Kulikowsky is in the newsroom with the story of one of the oldest infantrymen in Iraq. Jeff?
Well, Dave, he's certainly more than happy to give up that title as the oldest infantryman in Iraq. Sergeant Major David Henry's back home at his house in the Mohawk Valley after 15 months fighting in the dangerous Sunni Triangle, a place he never imagined a 57-year-old would find himself.
My wife and I was camping, and I got a phone call, and it was our sergeant at the Armory said that we had been activated for Iraq, and I kind of laughed at him like, oh, yeah, right, can't possibly be.
Henry's last tour of duty was back in 1968 as an 18-year-old Marine in Vietnam. Henry did one tour and got out. But the military bug never did, and a few years later, he joined the New York Army National Guard, serving the Guard many times here at home, but it had been nearly 4 decades since he last found himself in a war zone, so you can understand his surprise when that phone call came.
But yeah, 56 is a little old to be thinking about going into harm's way, but I really didn't have a problem with that. I was prepared.
Henry found himself fighting side by side with men almost a third his age.
They really listened to when I had to say something. And I talk about experiences in Vietnam in relation to this, and they really listen. And if they see me going forward, they go forward. And you know, they kind of look at me like, we're doing this, or aren't we? You know, let's go. You know, and they go.
Henry also had to help the young soldiers deal with the loss of 3 men from their unit.
And each time, the soldiers fought harder. I could see that. And the leadership just kept it still. We need to keep going. We can't just sit down. We need to keep on the fight.
And Henry has for nearly 40 years, and even at age 57, still isn't quite ready to quit yet.
Would you go back if they asked you?
Absolutely.
Well, he certainly would, but he does have to retire at age 63. It's mandatory. He doesn't have a choice. He says when that day does come, it'll be pretty tough for him. Now, David Henry's been married for about 25 years or so. We're going to hear what his wife had to think about all of this coming up at 5:30. For now, from the newsroom, Jeff Kulikowsky, News Channel 9.
Jeff, thank you. New this morning, News Channel 9 has learned baseball players and owners have agreed on a tougher steroid testing program. The announcement is expected to come later today, and we're told it will include stiff penalties. First-time offenders would be suspended for 10 days, and penalties would increase to a 1-year suspension for chronic offenders. Under the old system, first-time offenders would only receive treatment.
Continuing coverage this morning on the rescue effort that goes on in Southern California. 3 people known missing because of the mudslide in La Conchita, California, are still being sought. So far, 10 people have been killed by the landslide. 15 homes have been leveled. A dozen others are badly damaged. The storm is long gone, but it's still having an impact in some hillside communities. Some homes in Hollywood have been evacuated. There's concern a situation like what happened in La Conchita could be brewing there. Pavement already beginning to sag in some parts, and rescue crews say similar scenes will continue to pop up in the coming days as water begins to drain from the hillsides. Well, the massive storm that battered California wreaking havoc as it heads east. The latest incident involving the devastating floods is in the Nevada desert. Reports say this freight train was parked when roaring waters knocked up to 21 cars off the tracks. There are also reports the ground under the track simply gave way because of so much water in the ground.
New York State cracking down on what it says are illegal bingo games being played at Walmart stores. Walmart offers free bingo games for senior citizens at several area stores, but the state says it's illegal for Walmart or any other for-profit company to hand out bingo prizes or even sponsor bingo at all. Well, this move comes less than a month after the state shut down the Syracuse Brigadiers bingo games, claiming they were improperly using the money they got from bingo. Players at Walmart think what happened with the Brigadiers could have a much bigger impact.
It opened a can of worms for all these small organizations because one organization messed up.
Well, dozens of seniors who play at Walmart have signed a petition that they plan to give to lawmakers. They're hoping their bingo games will get an exemption to the law.
He's expected to get out of the hospital today, and now 43-year-old Eugene Kimbrough will be arraigned on burglary charges. He was shot by DeWitt police yesterday morning after being caught stealing laptop computers from the Salvation Army offices on Twin Oaks Drive. When police tried to stop him from speeding away in a stolen car, they say he came charging toward them. Kimbrough was shot at least twice, once in the hand and once in the leg.
He says jobs and safety are on the line. Governor Pataki heads to Washington next week to make the case to keep the Air Force Research Lab at Rome open. Pataki received a tour of the classified part of the lab yesterday. There's been some concern the facility could be a target in the next round of military base closings. Since 9/11, the Rome lab has taken a leading role in homeland security and other anti-terror efforts. It employs more than 800 people directly and has another 600 contract employees on site. The lab was originally on the Pentagon's hit list 10 years ago.
Well, right now, 5:07, and still ahead on the morning news. You eat them, I eat them, Christie eats them, we all eat them, and we know we should be eating healthier. And one food maker is going to be changing the way it markets some of its products to our children.
Yeah, you know, our kids can sing some of the jingles that, they see those ads so often. Well, at 5:24, Jamie Say is going to introduce us to an academic and wrestling star, Frank from Fulton, this week's Athlete of the Week.
You don't want me to get you in a headlock, do you? I guess that's enough. All right, 5:08, 46 degrees.
You're watching the morning news on News Channel 9. Coverage you can count on with Dave Longley, Christie Casciano, and morning news reporter Jeff Kulikowsky.
Sponsored by Harrington Homes, your builder for life.
Weather first at 5:11. It's 47 degrees now in East Syracuse. Temperatures will continue to climb, upper 40s to near 50 by 9 o'clock, 58 to near 60 by noontime. High this afternoon, 64. Skies will turn cloudy later this afternoon. And as we take a look here at temperatures around the area this morning, 43 in Oswego, 40 in Fulton. It's 45 at the airport in Syracuse. 37 in Chittenango. Cool air still hanging on for dear life east of Syracuse. So temperatures out to the east won't quite get up into the 60s, I don't think. Probably more like upper 50s there. It's 45 in Cortland, 41 Ithaca, and 42 this morning in Waterloo. Quite a tremendous push of warm air. Temperatures have been near 60 degrees all night in Buffalo. It's 58 in Pittsburgh now, near 60 in Cincinnati, and this wedge of warmth will slide in over us today. But on the heels of that warm up, some cold air coming down through the northern plains, and that'll get in here later on tonight and during the day tomorrow. Nothing on the radar screen over our neck of the woods. Actually, radar is pretty clear all the way back down into Ohio. So today during the daylight hour should be rain free. We'll get into this rain tonight. It should come down hard at times as a cold front comes through, and that'll bring an end to our warm up. And that rain could end as a brief period of snow after midnight. So windy and mild today. In fact, warm with even a little bit of sunshine, and then a couple pushes of cold air coming through. Rain should change to snow after midnight. Could pick up a couple of inches of snow here by tomorrow morning. Our forecast this morning, mostly cloudy and 48. Windy, clouds, some sun, 58 by noontime, and the high today in Syracuse, 64, maybe even warmer to the west, a little cooler if you're watching east of Syracuse. Tonight, rain changing to snow after midnight and a low of 32. Planning forecast tomorrow, just a few flurries, highs in the mid-30s, flurries and lake effect snow squalls Saturday, Sunday, Monday. High temperatures only in the teens by early next week. Christie?
CBA struggles without their hoop star, and Hannibal goes for an upset against Faith Heritage. Here's sports director Stephen Fonte with News Channel 9 Sports.
Good morning, everyone. CBA's Greg Paulus is taking a timeout this week from basketball. He's in San Antonio preparing for Saturday's U.S. Army All-America football game. The way things worked out, Paulus will only be away from his hoops teammates for one game, and that's a good thing because they struggled mightily last night in his absence. It's the first time CBA hasn't had two Paulus brothers in uniform since 1998. Sophomore Mike Paulus representing the family against FM. First half, that Zach Aga hitting the short jumper. Hornets up 2. CBA responds. Matt Canan drops in the 3. A team high 13 for Canan brothers, led by 1 at the break. But FM dominates the final quarter, outscoring CBA 18-2. Tom Whopper leads everybody with 15. Hornets pull away to take it 49-31. Some may consider that a mild upset. Hannibal, meanwhile, trying to pull off a major upset, visiting top-ranked Faith Heritage after a slow start. Saints get it going. That's Aaron Hall off the feed from Cooper Stroman, part of a 9-0 run. Hannibal used a deliberate ball control style to try to keep it close. John Sealander, the assist to Dan Spanfelner. The Warriors did hang in there, but Faith eventually pulls away. Stroman, terrific no-look pass to Derek Thomas. The Saints still perfect, 52-37, the final. I'm Stephen Fonte, News Channel 9 Sports.
And Lorraine fans, back to the Carrier Dome for Orange football. SU hopes their new pricing plan for games will help, and we'll have those numbers for you coming up at 5:30. Here's our famous birthday list. Top in the list, Rick Taylor, comedian, 71 years old today.
Drummer Fred White of Earth, Wind & Fire is 50 today. Actor Julia Louis-Dreyfus is 44, and country singer Trace Atkins is 43. Well, we continue to talk cell phones this week. Maybe you'll be one of the millions, or becoming one of the millions with cell phones. Well, there's certainly a lot to consider now.
Pricing plans, just one. Consumer Reports will have a breakdown by company just ahead.
Cloudy skies right now. We will see some sun and record warmth possible here as we head through your Thursday. Already up to 47 here in East Syracuse. It's 5:15. You're watching the morning news on News Channel 9. Weather first at 5:17, 47 degrees, clouds, perhaps a little bit of sunshine here through the morning. Temperatures near 50 by 9 o'clock, near 60 by noon, and we'll see a high this afternoon of 64 under mostly cloudy skies.
At 5:17, the White House is defending its pre-war claim Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. A final report from the chief weapons inspectors due out next month, concluding Saddam had no formal plans to revive his program. White House says failure to find WMDs in Iraq does not mean the war was a mistake. Syracuse man's expected to be out of the hospital today and arraigned on burglary charges. Police say 43-year-old Eugene Kimbrough broke into the Salvation Army offices in DeWitt. He was shot by police, they say, as he tried to run them down with a car after being caught in the building. And dozens of seniors who get together to play free bingo at local Walmarts are going to have to find another place to have their fun. The state is forcing the store to shut the games down. The state says the law does not allow a for-profit company to organize and award prizes for bingo, even if they are very small prizes. Christie and Dave?
All right, thanks a lot, Jeff. A health alert this morning for parents who probably send children off to school with some of these products.
Well, the nation's largest food manufacturer, Kraft, is putting its advertising on a diet because of concern about obesity in children. Kraft is pulling the ads for Oreos, regular Kool-Aid, and other popular snacks and sugary cereals on TV shows aimed at children younger than 12.
Now, Rod Wood with today's Consumer Reports.
Are you having a hard time choosing a cell phone service plan? It's not surprising. Some of the cell phone ads stress bargains, plans that seem to offer lots of minutes for not much money. But comparing the plans isn't easy. Consumer Reports breaks it down. And we begin with Verizon. Their national in-calling plan allows you to phone any other Verizon wireless customer anytime without using up minutes from your calling plan. At T-Mobile, paying $39.99 a month buys you 1,000 minutes, which are good any time of the day nationwide. Other carriers charge more. Sprint's fair and flexible plan can help you avoid big unexpected charges. Sprint adjusts your calling plan to allow for variations in minutes used. Next, Singular. Their rollover minutes lets you carry forward any unused minutes. Nextel's main attraction is the push-to-talk walkie-talkie style service, but several other carriers also offer this feature. So check around, and Consumer Reports just tested cell phones. We'll have the ratings for you in my next report. I'm Rod Wood.
All right, thanks a lot, Rod. Well, Amber Fry's tell-all book about her relationship with Scott Peterson is atop this week's bestseller list, according to Barnes & Noble. Coming in second, Greg Barron, He's Just Not That Into You, followed by Your Best Life Now by Joel Osteen and Chain Fire by Terry Goodkind.
And for the entire list, just head to our website, WIXT.com. Click on the Morning News logo. Coming up on the Morning News, a senior standout in the gym and in the classroom. We're going to head to Fulton at 5:24 to meet this week's Athlete of the Week.
At 5:30, a Central New York man's camera capturing the horror of the deadly tsunami. We'll have the pictures.
And it's a photograph that has rocked the UK. And there it is. Just what is Prince Harry saying about this outfit? Details at 5:43 in our eye opener. 5:20 right now. It is 47 degrees. We'll be right back.
Sponsored by University College of Syracuse University.
Weather first at 5:23, 47 degrees. It'll be a mild one at the bus stop this morning, especially from Syracuse westward, and maybe even a little sun. And we'll get up into the low 60s today when the kids are coming home later. Forecast where you live, still a little cool off to the east. Temperatures holding in the middle 40s, but perhaps getting up to near 50, I would think, here by 9 o'clock this morning with clouds and a little bit of sun. Mid or upper 50s from Syracuse westward, low to mid 50s to the east of Syracuse around noontime. And here are your high temperatures today, near 65 in Auburn, 62 in Oswego, 63 Central Square. We'll try to get you up close to 60 in Rome and Oneida. Planning forecast tomorrow, cooler, just a few flurries. More importantly, though, I think the sun's going to come out tomorrow. High temperatures in the mid-30s. On Saturday, flurries and squalls 24 and continued cold right into the early part of next week. Christie?
This week's Athlete of the Week is a three-sports standout at Fulton, and in the classroom, too. Fulton High School's Dan Pollock carries a 95 average with him every time he hits the wrestling mat. As Jamie Say shows us, Dan is also helping to keep a Fulton tradition alive.
My #1 goal is to be a section champ, and I think I got a pretty good shot at it, either at 171 or 189. And as a team, we're going for the section title too.
Dan Pollock has set lofty goals for his senior season. That's to be expected when you're part of Fulton Wrestling, a program that's captured the Section 3 championship the last 23 straight years.
The wrestling tradition here is phenomenal, and to be part of something so great, it makes you feel good and work hard for it and keep it going.
Wrestling at 189 pounds, Dan is 13-2 this season, 4-0 with 4 pins in his league matches. As a captain, he's a leader of the team and one of its hardest workers.
He's the kind of kid, if you had 13 Dan Pollocks on your wrestling team, you couldn't go wrong. I mean, he just lives and dies all the positive things that we preach, and I think that is an example to all the kids involved.
Mike Connors also worked with Dan on the football field and calls him the best center he's ever coached. Pollock was selected to the 2004 All-CNY team as an offensive lineman, and he's a 2-time All-League first-teamer.
He wasn't that overpowering force to play football. He just did his job every play, and for 3 straight seasons, he's just been an anchor in our offensive defensive line and did an outstanding job.
Football is my favorite sport. I made the All-Central New York team and first team All-League, so that was really great. And it's just, I missed so much already, but hopefully I can continue my football career in college.
I'm happy to present the Jack Morris Award to Fulton's Dan Pollock, our News Channel 9 Nice and Easy Grocery Shop Athlete of the Week. Congratulations, Dan.
Jamie, thank you. And a reminder, we're looking for bright stars to honor right here on the Morning News. If you have a teacher or a program that you think ought to be recognized, well, tell us all about it. We want to hear from you. Email us themorningnews@wixt.com. You can also send us some snail mail right here on Bridge Street in East Syracuse. Now we'll check some events happening out and about. There is a winter rummage and bake sale at the Granby Center United Methodist Church this weekend. The church is 1 mile west of Fulton on County Route 3. The sale starts tomorrow and runs from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday. It goes from 9 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon.
And the West Monroe Fire Department is having a pancake breakfast at its fire station on Sunday from 8 a.m. to noon. It's $5 for adults, $4.50 for seniors, $4 for kids 5 to 12, and kids under 5 eat free. For more information on these and other events, go to WIXT.com. Travel forecast today. Woo, what month is this? Not mid-January. Look at these temperatures, 50s and 60s across the board, although colder air starts to come into Chicago with a few showers.
Wall Street yesterday, the Dow was up 61.5 points. NASDAQ Composite ahead almost 13. S&P 500 was up nearly 5 points.
Roads are clear here this morning, but that wasn't the case yesterday in Colorado. We'll show you some pretty amazing video of a morning smash-up. Hang on. The morning news continues in just a moment.
Breaking news and your weather first. Coverage you can count on continues with the morning news on News Channel 9.
Weather first this morning. Ooh, real nice one for you today. Clouds, a little bit of sunshine, upper 40s this morning, near 60 by noontime, and high temperatures in Syracuse close to 64.
Capturing the catastrophe firsthand, a Central New Yorker tells his story of the tsunami terror. Good morning, everyone. 5:30, Thursday, January 13th. I'm Christie Casciano.
And I'm Dave Longley. He moved to Thailand a year and a half ago to start a new life. Now he's helping people rebuild theirs. 25-year-old Mike Handley of Brewerton lives at Patong, Thailand now. It's a resort area completely destroyed by the tsunami. The beaches and streets littered with debris, homes and hotels demolished. His family now sees the devastation through Mike's pictures.
It's kind of a hard feeling. I'm so thankful that he's okay, but I'm so sad for the Thais and the other people too. You know, it's just they lost so much, and you know, I'm thankful my son's alive. But
some of Mike Hanley's friends and co-workers were missing for days, but all of them turned up safe. Now he's working on rebuilding and reopening the restaurant and nightclub where he worked. And despite the destruction, Mike intends to stay in Thailand for some time.
New this morning, News Channel 9 has learned baseball players and owners have agreed on a tougher steroid testing program. The announcement is expected to come later today. We're told it will include stiff penalties. First-time offenders would be suspended for 10 days, and penalties would increase to a 1-year suspension for chronic offenders. Under the old system, first-time offenders would only receive treatment.
Syracuse University is hoping a new football coach will help lure fans back into the Carrier Dome. News Channel 9's learned that the cost of getting to see Greg Robinson and the Orange in action this fall. SU's announced the new pricing plan for Orange football season tickets. On your screen right now, if you're looking to get seats for all 6 home games, be ready to shell out $168. People younger than 18, as well as SU students, do get quite a discount, 50% in fact. They pay $80 to go to all the home games. And if you don't plan on making it to the Dome for every game, you'll want to buy single game tickets. And for adults, they're running $32 a piece for next season. For kids, $15 each. You can start buying season tickets on January 24th by calling 1-800-DOME-TICKS.
While the fight for Iraq continues, the United States has ended its search for weapons of mass destruction in the country and admits it's likely none will ever be found. It was the president's central reason for war in Iraq, but a final report from the chief weapons inspector, due out next month, concludes Saddam Hussein had no formal plan to revive his program. Some Democrats are calling on the president to apologize, but the White House says failure to find weapons of mass destruction in Iraq does not mean the war was a mistake. Well, it's always tough getting the call to ship off to fight in Iraq, but maybe a little harder, or at least more surprising when you're 57 years old. But that's what happened to a local man back home now and glad to shed his title as oldest infantryman in Iraq. Jeff Kulikowsky caught up with him. just a couple of days after getting back, and Jeff joins us now from the newsroom with this story. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, Christy. Kind of amazing. And right now, Sergeant Major David Henry still has a lot of readjusting to do. He really has only been home a few days. He's trying to get that sleep schedule in order and settle back into the house that he hasn't been in for nearly 15 months now. Henry was in the Sunni Triangle in Iraq, fighting alongside men nearly a third his age, going house to house looking for insurgents. Kind of a different kind of fighting than what he saw as a teenager in Vietnam after serving one tour of duty there. Henry eventually joined the New York Army National Guard in the 1970s, but it really wasn't until September of 2003 that he would actually get the call again to go to war.
It was a very stressful time for both my wife and I and the kids, because the uncertainty of, okay, you're being deployed to Iraq.
And luckily our kids are older, and so it was easier for them to understand where Dad was going in comparison to a 2-3-year-old, you know. But, you know, it's hard to see him go off. You know, you always got that thought in your mind, are they coming back?
And 3 members of Henry's unit didn't come back, which is one of the things he helped his much younger fellow soldiers handle. But Henry says, all in all, he still would go right back if they asked him today, but it's not likely at his age, and actually mandatory retirement is 60, which is only a few years away for him. So for right now, he's just adjusting again back to life home in the Mohawk Valley, and he'll actually head back to work at the Mohawk Correctional Facility on the 1st of February. From the newsroom, Jeff Kulikowsky, News Channel 9.
Sour feelings over a sugar substitute. It's the focus of our consumer alert this morning. Sugar farmers are launching a campaign against Johnson & Johnson, the makers of the sugar substitute Splenda. The reason? Well, they say the company's advertising the artificial sweetener as real sugar. Splenda's ad campaign says the sweetener is made from sugar, so it tastes like sugar. Not so, says the makers of the website. So the farmers say they're hitting the internet to remind people this artificial sweetener is in fact artificial. You can read their arguments about the yellow packets on the new anti-Splenda website. We'll link you there from WIXT.com.
3 people still missing following the mudslide in La Conchita, California, and the search presses on this morning. Rescue crews are using search dogs and radar equipment to try to trace noises in the hope of finding survivors. So far, 10 people have been killed by the landslide, 15 homes have been leveled, a dozen others are badly damaged. And covering America, massive pileups on roads across the country. We're going to start off in Michigan. 2 people are dead after this massive pileup on Interstate 96 near Lansing. The pileup involved 200 vehicles. Thick fog is blamed for several accidents in both the north and southbound lanes. And along Indiana's toll highway, at least 20 cars became tangled up with each other. 1 person was killed in this chain reaction wreck, and fog is also being blamed for this accident.
Thankfully, no one hurt in Colorado after what you could call a session of bumper cars.
Just like a chain reaction.
Oh my God! Oh, move out the way, come on!
This is crazy.
Crazy, I guess. What were those people doing? Like the Fred Flintstone trying to stop it? You're not going to stop a couple thousand-pound car sliding down the hill. Well, at least they're all parked up nice and neatly there on the side of the road. What started as a few spins, slips, and slides after some morning snow and ice in Denver turned into a downhill disaster zone. I would say so. And a boon for one auto repair shop, I'm sure. Overall, 28 vehicles crashing on the hill. It took a half hour before police blocked off the hill and the firefighters and snowplows arrived.
It looked just like a bumper car game. Incredible.
I don't know. They were just like all lined up, one after the other. Boom, boom, boom. And these people, you can't stop the car. Just hang on.
We would never see that in Central New York.
We would never. We're
hardy,
like that. We're hardy fender bender people. Well, still to come on the morning news. No fender benders this morning, but you could call it a crash course at 5:43. The impressive satellite photos from space that show icebergs about to be involved in a smash up of their own.
And our radio stars are shining for us this morning. 5:48. We're going to check in with Ron and Becky. This weekend's best bets.
And time right now, 5:37, 47 degrees. You're waking up to the morning news on News Channel 9. Well, the first at 5:40, it's 47 degrees. Temperatures near 50 here through the morning commute. No problems on the roads like what we saw yesterday. We're going to get up to a high somewhere in the low, maybe mid-60s today. Just depends on how much sun we see.
One of those mornings you wake up and say, what month is this?
Exactly.
This can't be January.
Yeah, yesterday dealing with the ice, no problems. There's not even anything on Live Doppler 9 this morning, Christie. So things are looking great. Temperatures, quick look here, mainly in the 40s. Still a few little 30s. That cold air, boy, it is stubborn. 37 in Chittenango, 35 Utica, 36 in Edmiston, but 40s elsewhere across the area. The 40s will give way to even milder air. Look at the 61 this morning in Erie, Pennsylvania. Just a whole swath of warm air going to be coming up toward us through today. Meanwhile, much colder air will be coming in on the heels of our warm up here for tomorrow and into the weekend. This air is really good. Look at that, 53 below zero this morning over the northern part of Manitoba. Has me a little nervous, honestly, about some of our high temperature forecasts for next week. We're holding temperatures in the teens and near 20 for daytime highs, but we got to keep a close eye on this. There's some days it's possible if this stuff gets in here that we might not get out of the single digits. So some mighty cold air getting ready to descend down upon us. Now the leading edge of that cold air is a cold front, and that is moving across the Great Lakes and the Midwest this morning. Quite a swath of rain here. I do expect the rain to come down pretty heavily at times this evening, but nothing over us, and I think we'll make it through the daylight hours precipitation free. So our forecast map looks something like this. Warm front, the leading edge to that real mild stuff coming through this morning. Actually pretty gusty wind this afternoon too. That's going to get those temperatures up into the 50s and 60s. Not one but two pushes of cold air to come through tonight. Rain will change to snow after midnight. We could have a couple of inches of snow on the ground tomorrow morning, and then things should quiet down. The air is cold, but it's also pretty dry, so that'll kind of temper some of the lake effect snows until later in the weekend. Mostly cloudy, 48 this morning. We're somewhere in the upper 50s to near 60 by noontime, and the high this afternoon, 64 under mostly cloudy skies. It will be quite windy later today. Rain over to snow after midnight tonight in a low 32. Could have a little bit of snow on the ground tomorrow morning, and then the sun gets out with a few flurries. Temperatures tomorrow in the mid-30s, and then it's 20s for highs, even some teens in there Monday. But again, we'll keep an eye on that bitter Arctic air lurking just to the north.
Royal apologies coming from a prince after a shocking photo. This one is published. Topping our eye-opener today, the grandson of Queen Elizabeth II says he is sorry if he caused any offense or embarrassment to anyone after a tabloid newspaper printed this photo of him wearing a Nazi soldier's uniform to a fancy dress party. The 20-year-old Prince Harry is seen clutching a cigarette and a drink and wearing a swastika armband. Well, we are receiving some impressive footage this morning of two giant icebergs that could soon collide off the coast of Antarctica.
It's going to really tick off the penguins down there. It's no small chunk of ice either. Scientists say it's about 100 miles long, or about the size of Long Island, and this time-lapse footage shows the movement of it since it cracked in two in late 2003. There you go. Scientists predict the world's biggest iceberg is about to hit the frozen remnants of an Antarctic glacier, and it could happen. And while it's not expected to be any major catastrophe, scientists are very interested to see two large things rub into one another. Why not? You got satellites, you got icebergs, let's watch them.
And study them.
Study them.
Mm-hmm.
What about the penguins? I hope the penguins are alerted. Well, still ahead on the morning news, a check on business news.
Plus Ron B. and Becky Palmer from B104.7. They'll be checking in with us and tell you some events that you can see with your kids. And
see and do.
It's a great date night, too. We're going to tell you about that coming up.
Are you implying something?
I'm going to recommend something. All right. Also, we'll have your top stories. Thanks for waking up to the difference. You're watching the morning news on News Channel 9. It's 5:44 and 47 degrees.
Weather first at 5:47, 47 degrees. That's right, 47. We'll be up near 50 by 9 o'clock, upper 50s by noontime, and the high today 64. It'll be windy, but we might also see a little bit of sun.
At 5:48, here are the top stories. The UN is concerned new Indonesian restrictions could delay the delivery of aid to tsunami victims. Indonesia's chief of relief operations has ordered international aid groups and reporters to be accompanied by troops and to inform the government of their travel plans. Governor Pataki says he plans to head down to Washington next week to make the case to keep the Air Force Research Lab at Rome open. There have been some concerns the facility could be a target in the next round of military base closings. And Major League Baseball owners and players today plan to announce a tougher set of rules regarding steroid testing. One high-ranking team official tells the AP a first positive test would result in a suspension of up to 10 days. It would also include year-round random testing for all players. Christie and Dave.
Right, trying to figure out things to do with your family or maybe your date. Well, from the theater to the ice rink, no need to sit around this weekend.
Ron and Becky joining us now live from their B104.7 studios with their best bets. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How are you? How are you? How are you?
Good. How about you guys?
Not bad. Not bad.
It's almost Friday.
Yeah, and payday too.
And almost payday
Double
too.
bonus this
you
week.
betcha.
So now you can do something this weekend.
Yeah, definitely so. Yeah, when there's money in your pocket,
spend it.
It makes the weekend look so much brighter, does it not?
Sure does.
Hey, first of all, we'd like to start off by saying, Dave.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for today's weather.
Oh yeah, it's comfortable, isn't it?
Beautiful.
Walking out of the house today, it was like smelling spring. It was wonderful.
Your nose hairs will freeze up tomorrow morning.
Oh, Dave.
So enjoy it while it lasts. It's not going to last.
That brought me down real quick.
Oh, yes.
All right, you ready for the best bets?
We are.
Here we go. The producers.
Yes, excellent.
You guys got to see this, didn't you?
I did get to see it.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Well, it's being presented by famous artists, Broadway Theater, at the Civic Center tonight through Sunday.
And we've got the Salt City Winter Antique Show going on at the Center of Progress Building Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's one of my favorites. Admission is $6. Children under 12, they get in for free.
That's a big one, put on by the folks from Balkville there.
Yep.
There's ice skating in Clinton Square today from 10 a.m. until 3:30 p.m. Could be a little water on the ice, though, I think, huh? Again, Friday from 11 a.m. until 10 p.m., and then Saturday from 10 a.m. until 10, and Sunday from 10 until 8.
It's a great bargain for the family. Hey, we've got Syracuse Young Professionals Night with a Syracuse Crunch coming up Friday night. Now, they've got a party at 6:30. The game starts at 7:30. It's at the Onondaga County War Memorial. $17 gets you into that VIP party, followed by the Crunch playing against the Cleveland Barons. And they play Cleveland again home Saturday night, too.
Yeah, the Barons. Whoa! And last but not least, Brad Paisley, Sarah Evans, Andy Greggs kicking off their Mud and Suds tour. This is the very first date at Turning Stone's event center. That's tomorrow night, Friday night. Tickets are $20, $30, $40, and $50. And I believe there are some seats still available. You can call the Turning Stone to find out for sure. Okay. And there you go, the best bets for the weekend.
Some good ones.
There is some good ones, yeah.
You said that producers, it's like a date. It's a good date thing.
If you're looking for something to do, a night out, and you want just a fun event to go see, the producers is great. I laughed through the whole thing. My husband had to work, so my date was my sister. So but it was
Me doing what you got to do.
It was great though.
There you
Thumbs
go.
up.
Great.
Okay. Well, good. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks a lot. And again, a reminder that concert at the Turning Stone Event Center is tomorrow night, Friday night. So that's a good show.
Yeah.
There's a good power-packed group of performers there. Now you need a little money to go do that.
Maybe you won the lottery. I won $2 yesterday. I'm so excited.
Christy, you win all the time. I've never met anyone like you who wins scratch-offs, daily numbers, you name it.
Fills my gas tank, let me tell you. Daily number 504, win 4, 8281. Take 5, 15, 27, 23, 37, and 38.
And there's a live look down on Columbus Circle this morning. All is quiet and the snow continues to melt. Temperatures upper 40s to near 50 already. The time 5:52. You're watching the morning news on News Channel 9.